Hello everybody, this here is B.Jr. from B.Jr.'s Movie Cave. Gonna do something different today. We're gonna do a fan commentary for the 80s cult slasher, Pieces. That's right. Gonna keep it simple today. I've got the Grindhouse release and DVD and the player ready to go on the menu screen. We're gonna do the old ready, set, go routine. So whenever I do the ready, set, go, on go, everybody hit play and we'll enjoy all the fun factoids and me spouting my feelings towards the world of Pieces. Okay, here we go. Get your remotes ready in hand. Here we go. Ready, set, go. There's a wonderful Grindhouse releasing logo. You see this in a lot of contemporary or current Quentin Tarantino films that have been coming out. The Grindhouse experience that they did, and it's just kind of nice to see that every once in a while. Reminds me of the heydays of exploitation cinema. Oh, Boston, 1942. Here we go with some factoids along the way. What I love about Pieces, it goes back. It's a piece of history for me. My first experience with the film Pieces is basically the good old mom and pop video stores. This one had that ultimate cover art on the VHS box that everybody just raved about because it had this girl stitched back together in different parts and that big old gigantic chainsaw sitting behind her, I believe it was. And it had the great tagline, "You don't have to go to Texas for a chainsaw massacre." Totally derivative of that movie. And it's basically like an 80s cult slasher mashup, giallo mashup with Texas Chainsaw Massacre type things going on. There is a chainsaw. There are a lot of kills. There's a lot of blood. Oh yeah, here she's. This is setting up the picture for you here. The mom's getting upset about the old dirty puzzle that the kid was putting together. Hence Pieces. You get it now. Um, this is just totally the thing I love about Pieces the most is the total randomness. Not only in the things that happen in the movie, but the way it was shot. Like that little replay just there a second ago for the lady throwing the thing into the mirror, and it barely even cracked the mirror. I think I don't even think it did. So little things like that go on in this movie, and that's the thing. You can't take Pieces too seriously. If you do, there's something wrong with you. You got to quit. You cannot take this movie seriously. I mean, she freaks out about the dirty puzzle and all. So what does most kids do? Most kids either cry, they get mad, they just sulk. No, this kid goes and grabs an axe and hacks his mother to death and into pieces, literally. Um, this, of course, the beginnings of the movie is set in the early 1940s era. And just some fun factoids as I was doing a little research before doing this commentary. I think there's a he's going to town. He's living the dream here, swinging that axe. Look at that. Oh my god. Oh lordy, some strawberry jam came out of that head right there. Look at that. Ooh. Anyway, some fun factoids on the way here. I think there was a New England Pennants thing on the wall in that room right there. Somebody wrote on IMDb that, and I think this is true. From what my vague Patriots history knowledge, the New England Patriots didn't really come into existence somewhere around in the '60s, and this is like 20 years before then. Also, there's a telephone. There's that telephone. There it is. With push button telephone. I think they turned it around thinking nobody would see it, but that's like a 1970s, 80s telephone. That's not a 40s. They didn't have phones like that in the 40s. I'm sorry, they just didn't. Um, there again, that's a testament to the randomness of this movie. Plus, you didn't see many things like this. Kids hacking up their parents like that and stuff. I mean, they just really went for it in this movie. They didn't care. They didn't expect to make a whole lot of money, I don't think. That's just a feeling I get from multiple viewings of this film. I mean, it was shot on a shoestring budget, obviously, but it had great special effects. I think the movie grossed a little over 2 million from what I've read, and so it really made its money back and got its rep on U.S. home video or home video VHS those days in the heyday of the mom and pop video store. Taking a little break there to get some coffee, guys. Ooh, that's a gruesome scene. Look at that. Oh, let me check the closet here. Oh, holy lordy. She's ahead of the competition. Couldn't resist, guys. Sorry. Of course, the acting is subpar in the movie, and you don't expect too much in that department. But that's what makes it fun. Makes it kind of enjoyable. You know, it's just one of those films that you just go into it trying to have a good time. You don't go into it looking for like the acting of Braveheart or Oscar-winning performances or nothing like that. No, this movie was made in '82, and it was basically released in '83 during the heyday of the slashers. Like Friday 13th were coming out every other year or every year, starring Christopher George. We'll talk about Christopher George here in a little bit, the late great Christopher George. But I always like this opening credit scene too, guys. I'm sure a lot of people like it too. But I love the music. It's kind of got that Italian kind of feel to it. It's very derivative of the backbeat from Dawn of the Dead, which was a Goblin soundtrack, I believe. Um, I just always like the way it just sounds. They got some little synthesizer in there. Music by Cam. I don't know. This movie's got it's got a whole bunch of kind of character actor type people that act. I don't know if you want to call it acting, but they do their best in this movie. Because you really get the feeling like if you really watch these people's performances in the movie, you get the feeling like they're just having fun. They didn't really have to take it so seriously. I mean, there was no big time. I don't think there was probably a whole lot of arguments on the set. There's probably just a lot of people having a good time. The way I like to think it is, anyway. 40 years later, here we have kind of the giallo influence. We got the Black Glove Killer, kind of derivative of Argento films. He's going back in the house where he was before, and he's finding the old puzzle pieces, and that's where I guess he puts together the idea of, hey, I'm going to hack up a bunch of young chicks and put them back together like my puzzle. So, but of course, if he didn't do that, we wouldn't have the enjoyable movie that we have today. Another little tidbit there, guys. A second ago, the mom was scolding the kid about this and that, the pornography and all that, and she was talking about, I believe, his father being in the Air Force. Another tidbit I found was this was a good one too, because I used to be in the Air Force, and this was set in 1942, the beginning scenes, and basically, if you know anything about Air Force history, let me educate you a little bit. The Air Force didn't officially become the Air Force until 1947, until after basically when World War II was becoming over with, fully, it was fully over with. So, just a little tidbit of history, little inaccuracies that they won't take away from the viewing experience, but this is just the good stuff. This is why you're listening to B.Jr.'s Movie Cave audio commentary. You're getting all these great little tidbits along the way. It's the enjoyment process, guys. Don't think about it, just enjoy. Well, here's random event number one. We got this intercutting thing here, this chick on a skateboard. Why? I mean, it's just that's the whole thing. It's kind of one of those bad in that good way kind of scenes. You got this glass and mirror company here. There she comes. What? And she's riding that thing like in reverse bow legged or something. I don't know how you. I don't get it. I've enjoyed this movie. I've been wanting to see this for a while. I hadn't watched this in a long time. Here she comes. And there's just these random dudes. They just happen to be walking out with a giant mirror so she can see herself run into it. Crunch. And it's supposed to have something to do with her throwing something into the mirror. It's just one of those things where, you know, I would love to meet the producers for this film if they're still around and just shake their hand and just tell them kudos because, it's one of those. This thing's got so many great random parts in it that just kind of work for its type of movie. Here we have our first chainsaw scenes. Where they found this chainsaw, I don't know. This chainsaw is like a monster, dude. It's like one of them really heavy duty metal jobs. I love the dubbing in these scenes too. They're just great. Just a few minutes, miss. Here we go. The first good kill of the movie here. I'm just going to be silent and let you guys enjoy it. Here it comes. Ooh. I always loved that big blood spray in that scene right there. I don't know. Good old school practical effects. Can't beat them, guys. Oh, here we are. We're at the college now. We got the late great Christopher George here, coming into his first scene of the movie. Let's talk a little bit about Christopher George. Christopher George, born in 1931, passed away sadly in '83. I am unsure in my notes here if Christopher George actually got to view pieces, or if he was one of these actors that actually viewed his movies. I don't know. Might have been one of these that didn't view his movies. I don't know. But I know he passed away in '83, I believe, of either a heart attack or complications of a heart attack. He was just in a ton of those movies of my generation and a lot of our generation enjoyed. Not only pieces, but he was in Enter the Ninja, Graduation Day, The Exterminator, good exploitation from 1980. Of course, the ultimate classic, Lucio Fulci's City of the Living Dead, 1980. He's got a resume that goes back. He's also in Grizzly from 1976. He did a ton of TV in the 70s, like SWAT TV show, McCloud, Police Story. And he played the lieutenant on that one, I believe. He did all kinds of films. He did Mission Impossible, I think, a TV show, a couple episodes, The Rat Patrol in the 60s. All kinds of stuff. Christopher George, like I say, he's one of those recognizable faces in these early either horror / giallo films, exploitation films, and the like. You see a lot of reoccurring people in these films that pop up in the kind of the subgenre of this time frame in history, the good old early '80s heyday of these films. Here, I better get back to the movie here. There was that chick showing off her bosoms to the I believe it's the dean of the college here. One thing I think Pieces always did really well was that it kind of, you have to give it some kudos for this because it really kind of did the Scream approach where everybody's a suspect. Not that it hadn't been done before in other giallo Italian films and stuff. But you got to remember, this film was targeted towards the U.S. home video market. I mean, it gave you a feel of that type of film where anybody could be the suspect. So about 2/3 way through the movie, you really didn't know who it was going to be, because if you watched any of the movies before this one, you knew that the person's size and body features, even though you didn't see their face, it didn't have to match up at all. When you see films before this one that had like these big hulking killers with black gloved killers, that would like take out people, and then all of a sudden the big reveal, it was just like a little lady, not being chauvinistic, but it was like a little woman that did all the killing. And you're like, no, like in Deep Red, the mom was doing all the killing. Not to give that away. Sorry, spoiler. But it's one of those things where you're kind of like, there is no way she could have done all that, but she did, This movie, too, kind of keeps you guessing a little bit. The dialogue in these scenes are great. The dubbing is just wily. And another thing, a little side note, as we're kind of letting these guys talk and get the scenes set up, if you get the Grindhouse releasing DVD of this, it is not only in widescreen, and it's a bit cleaned up as well. They got an audience reaction track, like sort of like what Robert Rodriguez does on a lot of his, on a couple of his DVDs he's put out through the Weinstein Company, where you can flip it over to that. It's sort of like a secondary commentary track, and you can hear the audience's reaction to not only the special effects and the fun parts of the movie, but more importantly, the dialogue between these characters. People are laughing their heads off just like we would if we're just sitting there watching it. We're like, what in the world are they talking about, But some of it's just whoever wrote the script too. I'd pay for their autograph. You know, some of the people that created this movie. I mean, I truly would, because it's just one of those little films that has got just that, just got that certain something. It's got that rewatchability factor for it. Oh yeah, the dialogue in this hallway here between Christopher George and the rest of them is just great. You have any idea what kind of girl she was? Just these little scenes just to get you to the next set piece or the next room is just funny. It's like they had to make people talk for some reason. Let's get a little bit of coffee here. I just like Christopher George's swagger in this movie. I'd like to see that kid. We're just out buying clothes without labels and trying them on for size. Oh Lord. Yeah. And it's sort of like they follow a good formula. Oh, there's the chainsaw again. I love that chainsaw in this movie. It's just awesome. It's this huge chainsaw. Now this guy right here is a character actor. He shows up in a lot of 80s films. What he's doing in this movie or how he got this job, I'll never know. Oh, there's his setting him up as a suspect there. He's kind of the yards man, the maintenance man guy, big hulking dude. That's definitely not his voice. I can tell you that. He wasn't there for looping. But this guy's great. I forget his name, but oh, it's Paul Smith. That's his name. He plays Willard in this movie. Paul Smith shows up in Red Sonja. He's he doesn't have the beard in that movie, but he shows up as the protector of Ernie Reyes Jr. He's got the big giant bone cane, in that movie. He also did some other films. One that pops in my head is Popeye. He played Bluto. There's some random making out. Sorry, guys. Played Bluto in the terrible Popeye movie with Robin Williams from the early 80s. He's done tons of movies. IMDb him, and you can see his resume. Here we've got the Black Glove Killer putting together he does this throughout the film. You can see him putting together the pieces of the person, and you kind of get the idea of what he's doing with the body parts. He's already got the head from the first kill, and he's kind of putting his plan together. Yeah, Paul Smith shows up in the film again. He's got some good random parts as well. I really enjoy him. Oh, he missed. Better luck next time there, dude. But somewhere I've read that the look of the killer is there. There was a little shot of the killer. The look of the killer is supposed to be based on the comic book character the Shadow, I believe from the 30s era or 40s era. But I beg to differ. It looks just like any giallo derivative, stolen from a giallo film, basically. Wearing dark clothes, black gloves, might be have a hat on or something. Just they never show his face, his or her face, I should say. There's some feet. Oh, little night stroll. Nobody's here. Oh, I gotta take my clothes off. And so that's why this one kind of merges in with the American trend with 80 slasher films of the day, because they had to follow. They really followed the rules. They got everybody as a suspect. They got to kill like every 5 to 8 minutes or so in the movie. They kept it to about 85 minutes of running time, 90 minutes total, somewhere around in there. And basically, you got to pay off. You got to show some boobs, like a couple of times through the movie, or some kind of skin part. I mean, that's a prerequisite of a lot of these films that came out during then. You had to have these things for these films to work. Why? Because the audiences wanted it. I mean, that's what they wanted to see. That's what they were paying their money for. It wasn't porn or anything, but they wanted to see these gruesome kills, and always raising the bar too. They wanted to see more inventive special effects every year. Music in this scene is just like something right out of porn, though. I don't know. Take a little dip here. She's being stalked by the killer. And see there again, that looks like a giallo killer. He's wearing like a fedora hat. You only see like the silhouette, of the killer and all that, kind of stalking in the shadows. And here we have the piece's eerie music start again. Love that soundtrack, the background music in this movie. I think it just works. Uh-oh. He's going fishing. Uh-oh, boobies. Sorry there. They had to do that. Sorry. Like I was saying before, you have to watch the puzzle, because each time he puts some puzzle pieces together, he's looking for a new part or has gathered a new part. He's going for his tools of the trade here. Oh yeah, don't bother to get up, cranking that booger up. It's funny how she's posing as she's in fear. She doesn't try to get away. That was one of the few kind of cutaway kills in the movie, because if I understand, Grindhouse releasing this is a fully uncut version of the movie from what I understand, so it's rare that you're going to see that in this film. I think they did it that way. A lot of times they do it that way in these type of films just to kind of spice it up, because you don't have to see it every single time once you've established a good kill. Another good reason is because the budget involved, guys. These movies, they didn't have budgets like some of these films now. I mean, they got horror films coming out now with like $50+ million worth of a budget. Guys, Halloween had somewhere in the realm of like, I think somewhere between $150,000 to $300,000 or something like that, and it made over $50 million. You don't have to have a humongo budget just to get returns. I mean, of course, we live in the age of CGI plus practical, and sometimes all CGI. Well, I'm not totally opposed to CGI, but I like to see about a good 70-30 mix. When you buy your hamburger, you can get that 93.7 stuff, but you want that 70-30. You want that fat in your steak. You want that fat in your meat. I'm just kidding, guys. But the thing is, you want to. I always like about a good 70% practical effects, and then throw about a 30 in there if you have to. And that makes for a good film, nowadays anyway. Oh, here we go. Here's the killer. He's coming home from a hard day's at work. He's been to the market. He's got him a sack of goods there. Yeah, gotta go to the old meat locker here and make a deposit. And the old plodding music there. I love this old film, man. I haven't watched this in forever. I'm glad I picked this one. I got a few comments. Thanks, guys, for joining in too and telling me what your requirements for, or your requests for your first fan commentary by B.Jr.'s Movie Cave. And Pieces had more than one. It had about 3 or 4 requests, so I thought I'd just try my hand at it with this one. Here we have Paul Smith getting back into it, being big, brooding, and oh yeah, put your hand right on the murder weapon. That's really great. I love these films, man. They always grab it and they look at it and go, that's blood. It's like the faux trailer for Thanksgiving in Grindhouse, where Michael Biehn and that other guy are sitting there, and the guy grabs there's one of these random fight scenes. Like, why would he start just like fighting cops? It doesn't make any sense. I mean, no wonder they would peg him as the killer. You know, it's one of those deals. Oh, here. There was a screw up. It was like, I call that a misgrab. I'll blow your brains out. Anyway, that was just one of those little random scenes I love in this movie. There's a big old pile of pieces. The gore effects in this movie are just top notch. Anyway, what I was saying though about that faux trailer of Thanksgiving, it's sort of like that scene right there with Paul Smith where they always go up to the murder weapon, they pick it up, they drop it, and they look at it, and they either look at their hand or taste it. They'll actually put the blood in their mouth, and they'll go, "It's blood." Just like that faux trailer, that one guy grabs some blood and he goes, "It's blood." And, you know, Michael Biehn kind of looks away to the camera and goes, "Son of a bitch." That's just killer. I love those kind of scenes. Christopher George mingling back into a scene. Look at this gigolo. You know, he's back in business here. He really doesn't look like a cop in this movie. He looks kind of like a banker. Got that vest, sporting the vest and the trench coat and all that. Yeah. I love it. He says, "Don't touch it, Professor. You could have destroyed some evidence." He's sitting there holding it, for crying out loud. He's already touched it. People have to touch the murder weapons. I love it. They got that one body part on the stretcher. It's good. It's just funny. Pieces is a good one not only to watch around Halloween time, but it's also a really good one to watch like for late night cinema. If you're kind of in the mood for just some kind of drive-in fix. Ooh, what was that? Was it a ghost? We don't know. It was a black mass. Here's another one of these walking in the hallway scenes. Yeah, he's creepy. I love the script of this movie. It's just funny, or lack thereof, I should say. Yeah, you know what I mean. He's just creepy. You know. Anyway, guys, it's just yeah. There's you just can't beat films like this, but you can get your drive-in fix from Pieces. You know, if you're just a gore hound at heart, you can watch it for the gore. If you want to see it for bad in that good way purposes, it works on that level. And I think that's why this film's really lived on a lot. I mean, I remember seeing it, like I was saying before, in the VHS days, and that my first experience with Pieces really boiled down to, I was in grade school, and kids started getting into horror movies at that point, and we'd all seen Halloween, the first couple Friday the 13th, you know, and stuff. Then the gore thing kicks in, especially for young males. Gore hounding starts about that time frame, around 6th grade or something, you know, for most kids. You get about that 12, 13, where you've seen horror movies, but you want to see more blood. You just want to see the most grossest movie you can ever see, and a lot of kids do it. And this was one of those that was in there. Reanimator comes to mind, and The Beyond, and City of Living Dead, or Gates of Hell back when it was called on the VHS show. You know, kids would come to school the next day and be like, "Dude, have you seen this movie Pieces? I can't believe it. It's the most grossest movie ever. It'll make you throw up, man. It'll make you throw up." And kids would just like run to the video store. And the funniest thing, it's a kind of a fond memory, is most of your mom and pop video stores of that time frame, the early to mid '80s, only had one copy of a movie on their shelves. Multiple copies of the same movie were unheard of at that point till about the late '80s, early '90s, till Blockbuster hit the scene full force and all that. But we would all like talk it up. This is the grossest movie, Faces of Death. You got to go see this movie, Pieces. You know, Reanimator. It's just gross. There's intestines flying everywhere. So all the kids would run to the VHS or the mom and pop video store. And it was kind of like a Holy Grail type thing where I got I got pieces this weekend, and then nobody else could rent it, and then whoever came back, whoever rented it over the weekend came back that Monday and would tell the other kids about what it was about and everything and what happened in it. And I know the infamous, I guess it's now a faux scene. It's not a real scene. The infamous monkey brain eating scene in Faces of Death will go down in history, just like a couple of the scenes here in pieces, like the elevator scene that you'll see later. Anyway, another little piece of history there. Piece of history, get it? Anyway, but there's some more dialogue scene kind of setting up who done it and that kind of stuff. That's where I think this one keeps its giallo feeling going, because in giallo films, Argento and some Fulci earlier films, basically a lot of your giallo films, not only just to Argento, but a lot of the other foreign Italian ones especially, they all stick to that same thing where you don't have to have great acting. You almost dub the whole entire movie every film, and but it's usually a who done it to the very end of the movie, and there's always a twist ending of some kind, and there's a black glove killer and all these prerequisites. So it kind of took that, merged it with the heyday slasher of the early 80s that was happening in America, from like Friday the 13th and all these other gore induced movies that were happening during that time, and merged those two ideas together. That's why I think this little movie has lived on to this day, guys, and it's been inherited, if you will, from other generations that have come along afterwards. There we have the dance studio scene here. All these oh yeah, here, that's an awesome shot of that silhouette there. That's very giallo right there of the killer. You got all these chicks kind of doing their dance routine. Music in this scene is killer. This is really captures the early 80s kind of dance trend where it was going post-disco, moving into the punk and the 80s trendy music of the time. Leg warmers, unite. I don't think too many of the girls in this scene are like very synchronized, but who knows. I guess I forgot to mention this does take place on a college campus, and I'm thinking it was filmed on a campus in Boston is what comes to mind. I'm not sure which college. I didn't research it that far. Here, kind of adhering to the slasher rules, anybody that says that I'll be back or something of the like and goes off and does their own thing, as soon as the steady cam or the camera starts following that person, you know it's going to end badly for that person. They're not coming back in one piece. Something bad is going to happen, or it's going to be an ultimate red herring of some kind. There we have the pieces music, some heavy breathing. Holy lordy, it's another chick. And you guys thought it was going to be a chainsaw, didn't you? Yeah. A little bit of girl talk there. Don't worry, we'll get back to the girls. Don't see, some of this dialogue is just unneeded. How many times have I asked you to not call me a doctor? I'm a psychologist. I was just like, geez, man, why? It's just so funny. And Christopher George is really just there to get his. It feels like he's just there to turn in his gigolo performance here. He's just kind of keeping everybody. He's telling everybody what the person's already told him. He's like, the doctor here just wanting some information. It kind of feels like a lot of times Mr. George kind of came in. He's got his lines the day of, and he just kind of went in there, got his paycheck, and went on to the next movie, next Fulci film, or whatever he was doing during that time frame. Christopher George he acts really well with a cigar in his mouth too. I don't know what that's all about, but anyway. And here we have the introduction of, what is her name? I've got to think here for a second. I believe her name is Linda Day George. Uh, basically, she plays the part of Mary Riggs in this movie. She's supposed to be, supposedly, I think, a tennis pro that is going to be working as a police officer or in conjunction with the police force or something of that nature. It doesn't really matter. She's a very pretty lady, but she has the biggest forehead I've ever seen on a woman before. Well, maybe not the biggest, but I don't know. I've always thought that's just another fond memory coming out. I remember us being as kids and we were like, look at the size of her forehead. I don't know why, but it's just one of those things. Silly things I remember in pieces lore. Basically, what Christopher George is setting up here, he's this student guy that's going to be helping out with the investigation. There he is, cigar in mouth again. He's going to be working hand in hand with this lady here to kind of lure the killer out, find out if they can find out more about the killer, investigate basically. There's a tennis scene coming up where she's supposed to be a pro, but just watch her tennis abilities and or lack thereof. I'll just say it that way. Here we have the introduction of another character. This is the reporter lady that's in the movie. Sylvia, I believe is her name. She's played by an actress by the name of Isabel Luque, I think that's how you say her name. I'm not real sure. Probably just murdered her last name. But it seems as though I've seen her in other films. I can't remember which ones though, but anyway. Just another character in the world of pieces. She's not really a detrimental character to the plot or anything like that, but there's Christopher George doing his job again. Got the cigar out and he's telling her, hey, you go see this person, you do this, and this is what this is about, and then he walks out. Anyway, here's the wonderful tennis scene. Now remember, she's a pro, mind you, and I'm no pro at tennis at all, but she hardly moves. She stands in one place the whole time. I'm sorry, but good tennis crowd shot there, the back and forth, yeah. She never moves from her spot, and it's just like somebody's throwing the ball at her the whole time. I don't know, it's just funny. I think it was just an excuse to get her out there in the tennis skirt outfit. The producers really knew what they were doing in most of these scenes, but then in a lot of the other scenes, they were really just like, just throw this into the scene. It'll be great. Like the whole mirror and skateboard thing in the beginning. Time for a drink of water. Can't sit here and talk the whole day and not wet my whistle. Tasty beverage, tasty beverage. Somehow I forgot that music. They got some little college big band music playing there. The only problem is you don't see the band. Mainly because it's on a speaker. That comes into play in a little while. Oh, he's got that inquisitive look. He's going to do some investigating. An impressive performance. It gave her quite a workout. She never moved from one spot. It's just funny. You can almost kind of time pieces by your watch. About every 8 minutes, you got to have a kill. So we're getting ready to have another kill. It's been some dialogue going on here, some wonderful, wonderful under subpar acting. It's awesome. He's so he's so upset. This wretched business will be summed up soon. I love his Ted Koppel super swoop hairdo there too. Kind of looks like mine in the mornings when I lay on the right side. Gets that big whoosh going in the front there. Unfortunately, I'm far too busy. I'm sitting here talking to a blonde. Get away from me. I love it. We're very busy. Now come on, let's do some more nothings. It's great. I love it. Well, like I said, you can set your watch by it. You got the Pieces music coming back. A dark room. Synthesizers. We're getting ready to get back to business here. Getting the puzzle box out again. Kind of gives you like a track record for what he's doing. Now he's going to be going after, I believe, an arm or two or something. Just some tidbits while we're kind of getting ready for the next kill session. I think the original runtime of Pieces was somewhere around 85 minutes. In France, it was 87 minutes. In Greece, it was a whopping 90 minutes. USA, I believe on this Grindhouse releasing, it is a full 89 minutes. From what I understand, this is the most uncut version that there is out there right now. I could be very wrong. So, don't shoot me too bad if I'm wrong. But from what I understand, this is probably the one the go-to version. Now there is a new version coming out by Arrow Video, I think in a month or so, that's supposed to be really, a really kick-ass version of it. So got the Arrow treatment, all the extras with it, and I'm definitely going to be investing in that one whenever it comes out. Oh, here we go. We're back in the dance studio. Got some jazzy music playing. The chick is by herself. It's been 8 minutes. It's time for a kill. There's the silhouette again. The wonderful fedora. He's checking her out. Got some heavy breathing going. I don't know what kind of music, or kind of dance routine you would call this. Like a French cabaret stripper interpretation of some kind. I'm not real sure. Without a pole. I'm not sure. She's really getting into it though. She's doing some spins. There you go. Did she see something? We don't know. Did she hear something? This movie's just hilarious. I love it. It's great. I never knew dancers danced like that type of dancing in high heels. That's an eye-opener. Never noticed that before. Oh, here comes the music. It's getting jamming now, man. The drums are moving faster. Something's gonna happen. No, don't put on your pants. Oh, jeez. The killer is stalking. This scene coming up, the kill scene, is one of the best in the movie, I think. If that's the one I'm thinking of, it's the legendary arm scene, I believe. So look for some good practical effects in this one. I mean, overall it's a testament to the practical effects heyday where all the special effects wizards were trying to outdo each other and trying to raise the bar and make the bloodiest movie they could within MPAA standards. I always loved that shot right there where the killer, she goes out one door, the killer comes in with a blue hue of lighting behind him. You can tell he's got a weapon there, just kind of slowly going from one door to the other. That's great. This movie, with all its faults, does some really great stuff too. I mean, it just does it right. It wasn't groundbreaking even for its time. I mean, it's just one of those that just a good movie. I mean, it's just a good horror movie, on many different levels. Oh, you could tell she was just like that was like a take right there. She was from complete stop in that hallway. Anyway, she's really running away, and the stalking killer again, 80s slasher. He's walking at a slow pace. She's running her tail end off, but somehow the killer catches up with the prey every time. Killers of this era, they always had secret passages. Sort of like the board game Clue. They always had a secret passage somewhere. We didn't see it though. One of those old timey elevators there, man. Got the drawbridge bars there on it, or whatever you call them. Oh yeah, she didn't see him hiding hiding the darn chainsaw behind him. I mean, you see that every day. He's got a gigantic chainsaw with him. My, your chainsaw is lovely. Or are you just happy to see me? Oh yeah, here we go. Craig it up, baby. Yeah, put the arm out there. Whoop, hello. Ah! Of course, you got the prerequisite lightning and thunder that happens at the same time. You ever notice in real life that doesn't happen? I mean, first you get your lightning flash, then you get your thunder. It never happens at the exact same time, usually. In these movies, it's just like, unless you're really looking for it. What has happened? There's policemen with me. Come with me. The policemen are just like, yeah, we know, we don't know this guy, but we're going with him. And here's the elevator, and let's see what happened here. Holy lordy, turn your head. Oh, I love how these people in these movies, they always do the retching scene. After they see something, they'll retch, but there's no vomit. I love to see some of them have it in there where it's just like they retch, but they actually vomit. Not that I'm a vomit hound or anything, but it's just one of those deals where like, but then nothing happens. It's just like they had dry heaving, I guess, is what you would call it. There's the wonderful stretcher men. I guess if I was ever to play a part in these movies, another walking down the hallway talking scene with Christopher George here. Anyway, I guess if I had to have a part in pieces, my preference would be one of the stretcher men. I mean, that show up after every kill scene, you got these two dudes in white show up with the same stretcher and pick up the parts, or pick up what's left. It's awesome. And there they go. They got their job done, and then they walk out of scene. That's the kind of scenes I'd like to play in. Christopher George talking to himself. Son of a bitch is out there somewhere. Where did you just come from? Sort of like a Monty Python. It would probably be like, from the left. And the lightning marches on. I think Pieces also holds a record. It's some kind of unwritten record for the most dialogue delivered either walking down a hallway or in hallways in this movie. Full background, in depth. I'm Christopher George, and I overact because I'm paid to. May he rest in peace. He's one of those recognizable faces in these movies, and I've got about all these early 80s movies. There's a lineup of all the suspects. I love it. Big Paul Smith in the back looking sneering as usual. Here's another random kind of part in the movie. As if this guy would actually do this in real life. You got this really horny girl in this bed. She's scantily clad. She has no clothes on. She's like literally begging him to come back to bed. And he's just like, no, I have to go look for Mary. I have to check this out. I don't know one college guy in my lifetime that would ever actually say, no, let's just have a quickie and then I'll go. He would not do that. He would not just leave. He would at least do something before he went. I mean, I'm sorry. That's not real. That's just one of the hilarious things about Pieces. In the Pieces world, it would happen, but not in real life. I wouldn't make any noise then. I love her dialogue in that scene. It's just so hilarious. And here we have Mary in the nighttime kind of sneaking around, doing some investigating here. We got the critter in the bushes there. That's another randomism. What was that? I don't know. It doesn't matter because it's Pieces. Here, I'm going to do some Pieces breathing for you guys. I got a chainsaw. Anyway. We're coming up on one of the most infamous random scenes in the movie, I believe. The infamous Kung Fu scene. Now, let me give you a little background before we get knee deep in that scene. I think the producer's name was Dick Randall. He was making some Kung Fu flicks at this time in Rome or somewhere. There's a Bruce Lee imitator that shows up in this film for just a brief scene here coming up. It's so random. There's this small Kung Fu fight here in just a moment between, I think, Mary and this Bruce Lee imitator. For what reason? We have no clue. But they just threw it in there because it was going to be exciting. It was going to be great for the movie. And then they just after the scene is played out, they just shake hands and say, okay, whatever, and then they go on. Hoo-yah! Here he is! Hoo-yah! This is great. He's kicking the crap out of Mary here, and he's got him one kick to the groin, sends him down, in his jumpsuit. She strokes her hair, and then another randomism, the motorbike. Where did it come? I mean, who rides a motorbike on campus, on a college campus? It just doesn't work. I'm sorry, or it does work for this film, but it's just so random. Oh yeah, this guy, he showed up out of nowhere and was kung fu kicking the crap out of me.
What's the story, Chop? I am on jogging. I think I know I am on ground. So long.
Oh, chop suey, so long. That is so non-PC for this. That just sums up all early 80s dubbing of this era. Oh, chop suey, so long. And then he's gone. And he was didn't do anything for the movie or anything. It's so random. And then this motorbike too, and it's like a 2-for-1 special. I'm going with you. Hop on. They can't get started here. It's like they just saw a kid driving by on a motorbike one day. They're like, hey, let me rent your bike. Let me throw it in the scene. It'll be great. It'll be great. It'll be fantastic. Fantastical. Little factoid from production company here as we're going through waiting for the next kill scene. The domestic gross in America was $2,032,311 with an opening weekend of $604,510, which back then wasn't too bad for a low low budget slasher. A lot of these movies like this made their money overseas in Europe anyway. So I don't think the producers worry too much about not making their bank back, because they always did. They make $1 any way they can with these little films. They'll distribute them in Yugoslavia or wherever they can find a venue. Oh, is it a chainsaw or is it his anatomy? We don't know. He might be well hung. But anyway, we have the next stalking scene, clocking in at probably around, since the last one, around 7 minutes or something. It's killer. I love it. A young woman on her own here. You just know something bad's gonna happen. Got another factoid about Christopher George we'll talk about here in a little bit. I'll kind of let you guys enjoy the next kill scene here. The wonderful synthesizer track. Get a little coffee here. In case you guys haven't noticed, I've been drinking a lot of coffee this morning in preparation for the piece's fan commentary, so I'm really overly hyper and overly joyed. Uh-oh. I love it. She looks in the room there and she's like, oh, there's a chainsaw in an office room. That's not something to worry about at all. Even though there's all this news about people getting killed with chainsaws. Jeez. Oh, the music's picking up. Here we go. It's light. A door. He changed up his weapon of choice here a little bit. He brought in a knife for this one. I like the look of the killer. They got like a mask around his face, so he's totally blacked out. This is the infamous Waterbed. Oh, he's going to town on that knife, man. The slow motion bloodstream shots are what really sells these scenes. Also the waterbed, it being on water and stuff too, so, you know, of course. I can honestly say this is the only waterbed slasher scene that I can recall. I've never seen one since or before this movie. Holy lordy. That little scene was very much like the Prowler Tom Savini scene where the bayonet through the head that comes out through the bottom of his head. Oh yeah, give her a last little pull there, yeah. Anyway, there was your waterbed knife scene. I guess they decided, you know, they'd had too many chainsaw kills at that point where they wanted to kind of jazz it up a little bit, get some Halloween derivative in there, some Halloween kill scene stills with the big kitchen knife. While we got a little bit of dialogue time here, I was going to do a little bit of another little factoid. I keep hearing, and I've heard this over the years too, not to go on the guy, oh lordy, it's a scary mask, oh my gosh. Anyway, but that's a great mask too, by the way. I like that hanging eyeball. There's another, it's just a random, that guy is not in any other part in the movie to my knowledge. He just shows up with a random Halloween mask and scares him. Then he's out of the scene. He's gone. He won't come back. But basically, Christopher George's sexual orientation. Was he gay? We don't. I don't know. I mean, I've read on a lot of these, message boards and stuff where people like losing their minds about, oh, Christopher George, was he gay? I don't know. The thing is, guys, well, there's a carcass. Anyway, I have no idea. I mean, a lot of people have asked me, you stand around, you talk at the horror convention I was at. Pieces always comes up in convention talk. or in message board talk a lot of times, and I've heard a lot of people debate this here and there. I honestly don't know, and you know, I have my own views about that kind of thing. But the thing is, for Christopher George's performance in these movies, I honestly don't care. He could be the gayest $3 bill if I, because the thing is, you're watching these movies for entertainment. Now, you know, that's one of my little tidbits on the gayness of Christopher George. I'm just gonna leave it at that because that just seemed to need to be addressed because it's in every single IMDb horror message board out there. Does he have man crushes on people? I don't know, and I don't care. He's just Christopher George, and he's in one of these movies. That's all I know, and that's all I'm going to talk about. So there you go. Here we have the big music playing on the speakers. You got a shower scene. It's been a while since there was some boobies in the movie, so here we have soapy boobies and a soapy bum. So you're getting that. I think this is one of those scenes that, since it's getting on towards the end of the movie, they didn't really wait the prerequisite 8 minutes or whatever it is to have a kill in the scene. So got some heavy breathing here. Girl's shower room. It's sizing up to be a kill. You don't know when or how just yet, unless you've seen the movie. Got the saloon doors there. Oh, she got her panties on pretty fast there. Anyway. Chainsaw time. The guy's standing there all in black and he's got a chainsaw and she's asking him, "What are you doing?" I know many of girls in real life that would probably been out of the building or jumped through a window at that point. The mere sound alone. But anyway, you know, like I said, you don't take these movies too seriously. Now, here's an interesting factoid. I believe she's the tennis girl. When you see her kill scene, what you're actually watching is an actual real-life pig carcass being sawed in half by the chainsaw. Good little scene there. You always have to have, if you got a chainsaw in your movie, you got to have the chainsaw cutting through a door. Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies, whatever the case may be, you got to have it cutting through a door. Okay, another random. She peed her pants, and they had to show a full frontal crotch shot of her peeing in her pants. But it was more like projectile pee. I don't know. I've always thought that was kind of random. I don't know. They had to get that in there real quick. Let's watch her piss. You know, we got to watch that. Here we go. Pig carcass. Ugh. They had some good arterial spray. Well, then you got Paul Smith coming out of the building here. He's got something black in his hands there. He takes it back in. You just know he's got to be the killer. I was just testing the system.
No way, lady. I just take care of the grounds. All the electronics is someone else today.
I just took care of the grounds. I had knocked out 3 cops the other day, and I'm out on the streets. I had a primo bail bondsman. He got me out of the slam.
No one's allowed to use that phone.
I love Paul Smith in this movie. He's just awesome. No one's allowed to use that phone. I was hired to look grimace. To have a grimaced look all the time. Paul Williams always has that eternal look on his face like he's got a fart, but he can't do it. He's constipated or something.
What was that? What? I don't know. I thought I heard screamers. Where is it, Charles? That music's driving me crazy.
Over there. Follow me.
Follow me. I'm the big airy groundskeeper.
These are my keys.
A lot of method acting there. Let me stare at my keys. These aren't my keys.
I mean, if anything happens.
Paul Smith's little head jerks, like, get out of my way, you know, kind of. His little physical acting in this movie's great because he's just there, he does his job, has fun with it, takes his paycheck and goes home, you know.
Kendall! Kendall! Kendall, where are you?
Now Mary's, the character, her acting here is just awesome, and this little scene's coming up.
In the locker room.
She goes in, she checks it out. Excellent practical effects there. She gets a little sick. Now watch this. This is just gonna go down in history right here.
Yes! While we were out here fiddling with that music, the lousy bastard was in there killing her!
Now I always thought one bastard would have done it for that scene, but I got the feeling like somehow, some way, they just let her keep saying the word bastard over and over again. It's totally overacting, and she's got to have had a good time doing that. I'm sorry, but they just felt the need to make her say bastard 3 times. I'm not opposed to the word, but it's just one of those things where it's just like, she didn't get upset and scream before she came out there, and she like came out, got her stuff together, and she was like, bastard, bastard, bastard. But it's just one of those things that makes the world of pieces so great.
Suspect, you must be kidding. Suspect, you're crazy.
Suspect, you're crazy. I'm Christopher George. I eat cigars. I don't smoke them. I just eat them all day long and hold them in my hand.
Bastard, we can. I know, Lieutenant. I know. But the book doesn't. Yeah, well, hell with the book. The book says
The hell with the book. I'm Christopher George. I got a cigar. I'll come down there and kick your ass.
be elite, damn it.
Oh, I just smelled a fart. It was bad. Alright, we're back with the killer here. It really kind of kicks into overdrive here with the killer. You start getting to see every other scene is with the killer here till the end of the movie. The twist ending, or the reveal, what have you, is just hysterical in this movie. I can't wait for you guys to see it, if you had never seen it before, especially. High heels. Those are about 5 inches there, I would say. 5-6 inch heels.
Professor Brown!
Oh, don't fall on them heels now.
I'm a little nervous after what's happened.
Broad daylight.
A little nervous. I would say more like hysterical. Bastard!
I know you must think I'm awfully silly, but after what
I have way too much caffeine in my system today, guys.
Afraid I'm callous.
not like to see him, he seems like an old softy.
Obviously, you don't know much about campus politics.
Why do you say that?
The actor here playing the opposite of Mary here.
I wouldn't bet on anyone's chances against the dean.
I wouldn't bet on anyone's chances. I can act with my eyes never moving and my upper lip never moving at all.
I was just expressing my feelings. But you couldn't tell it because I have no facial expression whatsoever. But I think you know better than to pry into the personal lives of your colleagues.
Well, I'd just like to know where I stand, Professor. After all, there's a many...
I've always daydreamed of this guy in this scene right here with Mary just whipping out some Ebonics. Let me tell you something. Stay out of the lives of others, you bitch. Sorry about that. Got too much caffeine, guys. Too many cuss words coming out there. Sorry. Trying to keep it kind of semi-family friendly. There's the character of Mary with her big forehead again. It's a good 6-inch forehead. I've always thought that. Linda Day, I believe her name is Linda George.
You'll find him in his quarters around 7 to 9.
And you'll see my forehead too, because it'll get there 5 minutes before me. God. Another little Pieces music tune here.
Hi, Sergeant. Where do you want me to start?
Hi, Sergeant. I want to kiss your butt some more. Get into this movie some more. Yay.
Boy, let's see if your enthusiasm is still going strong. We out.
This old sergeant guy, I haven't talked much about him. He's always kind of like Christopher George's opposite in the movie.
I don't like having my environment.
He's kind of the gruff old police guy that doesn't want anybody on his turf.
You read through those files. You make a note of any references.
And he's like telling his kid, read through those files. Go do something. Get away from me.
There, that's your table.
Go over there. Another little tidbit while we're getting through the next dialogue scenes here. I do own the Region 2 Pieces. It's a bare bone DVD, and it is in widescreen, but I think the Pieces Region 2 bare bone DVD is picture quality on it's pretty good for this type of film, but the transfer is non-anamorphic, so watch out for that. So if you got it on the 16:9 TV, you'll have to zoom it up. You can't just play it in widescreen format or widescreen angle option, whatever you want to call it, zoom option. The Grindhouse releasing one, though, it is a 2-disc set, and it gives you a lot of goods on the movie. I thought it's probably the quote-unquote definitive edition of the film so far. The Arrow releasing one, I haven't seen it yet. I don't know what it has to offer, so I don't know how it weighs in against it. I know this movie will it's one of those rare little gems that will probably, I hate to say never, I just don't see this one getting released on Blu-ray anytime soon, but we can all dream, can't we? I wish it would get released on Blu-ray because I'd love to see what they could do about cleaning this one up. Now, when I say that, let me piggyback on that and say I want a company like Arrow or Blue Underground to get a hold of it and do it, because as with all Blu-ray releases, if somebody like Echo Bridge or Mill Creek or any of these guys get a hold of it, it may not get a good cleanup restoration. It'll just get a port, onto high definition probably. So my hope is that they'll get it in the hands of a good company like Blue Underground or Arrow Video, and they'll do a good restoration on it. But then again, you got to think too, do you really want that? I've often asked myself that kind of question too, because a Blu-ray release of Pieces would kind of take away from the ambiance in a way a little bit, because it when you're watching a little grindhouse style movie like Pieces or slasher style movie, you almost want that grain. You want the choppy cutting, editing in it. You want the bad sound in some cases. I've even caught myself watching movies like this on VHS every once in a while because I was nostalgic. Ooh, let me stop for a second here. The dean there or whatnot, he's putting some drops in there. Is it date rape or is he the killer? We don't know. It's building to a climax. But alas, the tea kettle whistled and he had to walk away. It won't be a second till I drug you. But anyway, getting back to the Blu-ray discussion, leave me your comments here on this audio commentary, guys. I guess I should say, leave me your thoughts and feelings on whether or not a Pieces Blu-ray should be in order, or should just a decent DVD do the job. You be the judge. Tell me what you think. Here's your coffee. The guy's got a table setting what it looks like for about 4 or 5 people there, or 3 or 4 people, but it's only 2 people in the room, so I don't know. I'm not an etiquette kind of guy, so I wouldn't know what the proper nomenclature of tea setting is. It just seems like he had an army worth of tea there for 2 people. I love this guy's accent in this movie, or the dubbing accent. Professor Brown, I am too busy to talk to you because I have a Ted Koppel hairdo and I am too busy combing it. Professor, I need you to polish my forehead. And if you're not too busy, that is. Oh, another drop will do you. Here, we gotta put some more stuff in here.
You know, if we don't find out something soon, we'll have to get a warrant to search the entire campus.
Uh-oh, that did it. A warrant to search the campus. It changed everything. I've got to dope this woman up big time. She's got a large forehead. It's going to take a few more drops for that forehead. There again, here we are back with the these little scenes like this towards the end of the movie, because we're getting into about the hour and 15 minute mark. For about a 89, 85 minute movie that this one is, you kind of get these little last scenes like this with the sergeant and everything. They kind of feel like filler. They could have just went on with the climax at this point, but they're kind of foreshadowing there, because there's a dark trench coat there on top of the file cabinets. If you haven't ever noticed that before, I noticed that recently, and they're kind of just throwing some more suspect type stuff in here right before the climax. The guy's chowing down on some Wendy's there, it looks like. If you spy it, there's a Ronald Reagan picture in the background there. You can tell they were trying to go for the American campus look there. Usually you didn't see a presidential picture unless it was like a federal office of some kind or a governmental office. You'll see the picture of the President of the United States. I don't know, it's just kind of like a little thing that locked it into the 80s forever, is to have Ronnie Reagan doing his trademark smile on the wall behind him. Yeah, he's got his trench coat there, and they're kind of, these little scenes are kind of drawing all the characters into one location. He's getting his weapon there. He's the only cop I know that just shoves it into his waistband there, shoves it into his belt. If you ask any policeman, now I've got a couple buddies that are policemen, and if you ask any cop, they say that's one of the biggest inaccuracies in any movie, especially for cops. They said any self-respecting mob guy or anybody would not wear it under their belt or in their waistband, because that's the quickest ticket to shooting your anatomy off, especially with a revolver, they say. But anyway, not to go off on a tangent there, if you're going to be shoving your guns into your waistband anytime soon, buy a holster. Buy a shoulder holster or something cool like that. Don't shove it into your waistband and blow your penis off. And here we are, we're back with Linda Day and the professor here, still sipping on their coffee with their pinkies stuck up in the air. She's worried about her the lighting on her forehead in this scene, and his Ted Koppel swoosh still hasn't fallen from the hairspray application. They're staring at each other vigorously, running some lines. Okay, the drugs are finally kicking in for this broad. She feels funny. She feels paralyzed. Why? Uh-oh. Low camera angle. He's tall now. It's the effect of the drugs I have given you. We have ways of making you talk. Oh, what's going on here? He's paralyzed her. Yeah. Another part that I would love to play is the random cop that runs in with the surprising note that brings Christopher George into action. I wonder how many cigars Christopher George chomped on this movie. They're never lit to my knowledge. Grabbing his coat, running out of the scene, eating a cigar. Oh, got some plastic. Now he's going psycho. We don't want to make a mess in here. This is what he was too busy with earlier in the films. I am too busy. I have a foot fetish. Oh, we got the jazzy, upbeat music. The action's kicking up. All the characters are coming in to one location. It's gonna be the climax of Pieces. Looks like he was driving a Ford Pinto there. It's lucky he got there in one piece. Those things had a tendency for blowing up. Oh, he's got the black gloves on. We've established the killer with the kitchen knife. She's paralyzed. Music here is awesome. True 80s slasher antics as giallo music coming together as one. Forming a coalition, if you will. Stay here, kid. I'm Christopher George. I eat cigars and carry a gun for a living. Get out of my way. I love it. Another inaccuracy. Let me knock on the door and stand in front of it. Christopher George shot the crap out of that door, man. Ah. A little bit of mystery here. What's going on here? We don't know. We're trying to find out. She's had the best foot massage in history, and now she's just enjoying the ambiance of the room. Okay, the pizza's soundtrack just kicked in again. Dum dum dum. You better find him soon, Mr. George. You've only got about 9 minutes left of film. I'll help you. Let me undo your blouse. It's funny, the cops run away and she's staring in one location the whole time. Little random panderings of the curtains there. Oh. Ready for the marathon, yeah. Oh, here we go. Ah! That little reinforced throat grab there was awesome. That's right, man. Christopher George had to go take a leak, and when he came back, he handled business. Right between the eyes, brother. I love it. And look at this gigolo. Got his little smarmy smile on his face again. You alright, boy? Did you ever doubt me? I'm Christopher George. The power is in my cigar. Let's tear this place apart. Yeah, it's got the, like I was saying before, that like it has the two worlds of slasher films of the '80s, U.S. slasher films, and giallo kind of in tune with one another. This is a total right textbook giallo ending, basically, where you had the twist of the killer, is revealed at the very end of the movie, and now you've got to sum it up. The old cop is getting the puzzle piece here, and they're going to explain it to the audience. As if we didn't know what he was doing before. But as with all giallos, there's always a little extra at the end. Here it is! Oh my god, it's pieces! It's exactly what you thought it would be. It's a girl sewn together from all the pieces. Slow motion for all to enjoy. I love his kind of putrid looking there. Why stop there? You know, all these little films like that have always got these little extras at the end. Another favorite one of this kind of subgenre is Macabre by Lamberto Bava. It's got one of the best little what the heck endings. Just like this one. Let me get my jacket. Let me grab your crotch and scratch it really deeply. Oh! What a way to end a movie. This has been the greatest time. You know, there we go. Lieutenant Bracken, the late great Christopher George, Sergeant Holden, Frank Branagh. As the credits roll, guys, I guess I just want to thank you guys for actually sitting through pieces with me. I hope it's been enjoyable. I try to throw as many factoids in there as I could. If this works out and everybody likes them, please let me know in the comments below. I really enjoyed sitting here talking about Pieces. It's a good movie to revisit every once in a while, especially at Halloween time for slasher needs. I highly recommend, if you don't have this movie yet, if you're watching a Netflix copy or an old VHS or something today, go pick up the Grindhouse releasing one of it. I can honestly say it's probably the best one to get right now. Or try out the Arrow releasing one that's coming out, Arrow video release from the UK, and let me know what you guys think about the film. And I don't know, I guess I'll leave you with it, guys, and let you know that I've had a great time today, and I hope you guys have enjoyed. Rock on, dudes, and let me know if I should do more commentaries, and we'll see what happens in the future. Take care, guys. Rock on.